Hi, my name is Ivo Maitha and I'm 19. I feel it's something that really needs to be raised as a topic.
Or like their features are accentuated to make them seem.
Okay, so who do you guys think are the biggest perpetrators of colorism, men or women?
Personally, I believe it's men, because in majority of the cases, let's give like in the workforce, majority of the people who are picking people to do the job are men, and like on TV, we'll see less dark-skinned women than light-skinned women because it's men who picked them. They pick by their type, you know? They'll pick, like, let's say a light-skinned woman because they like light-skinned women.
Even in videos, like video vixens.
Yeah.
Look
Even
at,
when they
like
rap.
look at majority of video vixens. They're usually light skinned. There's a certain preference that they fit a certain box. It's never. Even the dark skinned ones are very.
The ones you see, like it's always the dark skin that you see are always
Unrealistically
Yes.
dark skin or
their
or like
their features are accentuated to make them seem. Yeah. It's so unfair. It's something that even growing up, when I used to see that, I never believed I could even have a career in television or even appear in a magazine or something, because I knew they don't want to see me.
a lot of the issues we have today as a society, the media has played a huge role in them because there's a certain way they portray people that it creates a certain image from a childhood, like a childhood perspective. When you're a kid, you're not really, it's the media and your parents who, for some people, they're not really always with their parents. Yeah, you won't always be with your parents. So it's the media and your friends get the perspective from the media. So literally, the media plays a huge, huge role in how we see things. And if they're always constantly portraying a certain, group of people, then that's the ideology you get as a kid or even growing up, that if I don't fit into this box, then there's something wrong with me, or I should feel insecure, or I won't be able to date a white person. Even this ideology that white people only date like dark-skinned girls, or that's a thing. Like, it's portrayed in the media to begin with, and then we follow on the trends and we make it more and more trendy.
One takeaway that I got from Ajuli was I saw it on Twitter where black men only like dark-skinned women when they're curvy. So that really struck me. I was like, wow, this is deep. Yeah.
That's the women have come to be objectified. Like, you have to, because you're dark, that's a negative. Now add curves, it will kind of balance it out.
Exactly.
Hi, my name is Blessing Ondieki. I'm 17 years old. Colorism is a very important topic to me because there are instances in life where people have been quick to say that because I'm light, I've gotten things done, but I've actually worked for those things.
So I'd say the average age amongst us is 18, 19, around there. So I'm not sure if everybody's gonna have experiences in the dating world, but if you have, and you have some stories that you could share with us, that would be lovely.
I mean, generally in Nairobi, people will tend to focus on light skins more. Girls will tend to go for lighter skinned guys. The guys do the opposite and go for lighter skinned girls. So yeah, it's a thing. Maybe you could say 5 years ago, but for me, I feel like now people are waking up and realizing all these things.
I think that people still are not woke enough. I know I've seen it in my group of friends. Even when you go for parties, people would always end up going, guys especially would go for the lighter skinned girls, and you'd find they'd be, liked by more guys. And I even have friends who don't date anyone who's not foreign. I've heard stories, and even a girl telling me that, because they literally told me if I was lighter, they would date me. So it's actually there. People don't think it's as big of a deal as it was before, but it still is, because as more foreigners are coming into a country, it's becoming kind of fetish for a lot of guys. You find a lot of guys fetishize around like girls who are lighter or foreign and white, foreign, biracial, stuff like that. So yeah, it's still there and it's still very, very strong. Yeah.
Okay, what I wanted to say, my experience, okay, because I've also not been in a serious relationship. So my experience is from my friends. And there was a time I was speaking to one of my friends, and we're just talking about women and, you know, how women we find attractive. And I would tell him, you know, like some dark-skinned women names, and he'd just be like, no, she's ugly. And I'm like, okay, why do you say that? You have to give me a reason. You can't just say she's ugly and then, you know, you don't even justify it. So the fact that he couldn't give me, you know, a response, like to say she's ugly because, you know, I don't know, and I don't know why, but it showed me how brainwashed he is. You know, he can't even think why he thinks that way. That's brainwashing, you know. It's not, so it's already ingrained in him.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a choice. He just hates black people because growing up, he's probably experienced the women who are said to be attractive as light skin.
Yeah.
Speaking about, you guys talked about exotic women, light-skinned women. So what do you guys think about dating with preferences?
Preferences hurt more than people actually think. Because if you go out looking for this certain, you know, type of person, you'll end up, you know, you won't find that person, of course, because that person is perfect for you. So you'll never find the perfect person. And the person you find, you'll always try to make them the perfect person. And that always ends up really badly, you know.
And I feel like people need to differentiate and stop making the preference as standard. Like, you can't just say, I'm only going to be on like light skin and like that's it and that's the way. I mean, even if it is your preference, it's also not how you say it, but I mean, sorry, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Like if you say it in a maybe nicer way or a more understandable way, then it can be understood and comprehended by others. But if you're bashing the whole skin tone of what you don't like, then it also comes off as mean.
Hi, my name is Jane Hakim and I'm 19 years old, and throughout my childhood I always felt like my skin tone was never appreciated or loved. I thought it was really hard to just love myself and experience it way more in high school.
So Jane, I wanted to direct this question towards you. How do you feel when dark-skinned women are being complimented and it's always in relation to foods, and or she looks like chocolate, or her skin is like, it's always like cocoa, like something like that. So how does it make you feel?
Well, for me personally, when I'm being compared to, okay, I'm not necessarily always compared to like food or stuff, but more of stuff like something that is just very, very dark, but not necessarily food. So for me, I would find that very offensive in a way. But then when it comes to stuff like, oh, if you compliment me saying, oh, you look like dark chocolate, something, for me, I wouldn't mind that much, to be honest, because it's like, okay, I mean, hopefully it's portrayed in a way that is good. So for me, it's all good. Yeah.
I'm Luca, I'm 17, and I'm here to talk about colorism because it's affected me from developmental years till now. I never felt beautiful in my skin, and especially talking about it makes me feel more in love and in touch with my skin.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you guys if you have a memory of the first time, especially for the darker skinned people here, the first time you saw someone that's representing you, and what did you feel?
Like for me, the first time I ever saw a dark-skinned man on TV it was Idris Elba. Like the first time I saw Idris Elba, and I had always wanted to be like an actor when I grew up. So when I saw Idris Elba, I knew that I could make it because Idris did it. So it felt good. Yeah.
Yeah, just to also add on, like for me, growing up as a childhood, I was not really like, my skin tone was not accepted. So for me, it took a while for me to finally like my skin tone. But then once I see someone that is being represented as a dark-skinned woman doing big in the industry, that makes me feel very much confident in myself, knowing that I can also do it. And these these women are also, they most probably face the same thing I did growing up with the whole colorism situation and not feeling like they are seen or heard. But once they finally are, it's like, oh wow, I can do that too, you know? So yeah.
For me, as a kid, I loved football. So I used to watch it a lot. And seeing black players, like especially Drogba, oh my, what? I fell in love like with football even more. Because I'm like, this guy looks like me, but he plays like, you know, he's not like supposed to play like that. That's how it was perceived. So when I can see him doing the things he does, I feel like Superman, you know, just I can do anything.
I get that, because for me, I was always like the taller one in every room. And so people would always say, I should be a model. But when I would watch shows, there were no like dark-skinned women in the runway at that time. They were actually, rarely would I see a dark-skinned woman. Actually, I wouldn't. I would never see a dark-skinned woman. But the first time I did in a magazine, I was like, okay, finally, the industry is actually growing. Because I hated modeling. I hated the perception. I didn't even want people to tell me I would be a model, because I was like, it's not gonna accept me, because already in that industry, there are no dark-skinned women, or even women, because I was darker as a kid. I was way darker than this. So at that time, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna fit in that industry. They're not gonna accept me for who I am and what I can change. So I hated the idea of it. But now that things are growing, now that there are more of us represented in that industry, it feels good. And it's like, okay, finally, we're not represented as much as we should be, but it's a start.
I was like really happy when I started seeing like dark-skinned women being, you know, represented, especially even by like agencies. That really like melted my heart. I was like, wow, I love this. They're doing great. Like, you guys are doing amazing, and they deserve it, to be honest.
Hi, my name is Shiko. I'm 19, and colorism is something that's affected me since I was younger. Like, I remember the first time I kind of started realizing was when people would compare me and my mother's skin colors, because she's much lighter than me. So from a young age is when I started to notice that, you know, darker skinned people are being treated in a specific way, and lighter skinned people are being treated in a specific way.